But here's my first question. What is something fun that probably none of my viewers or readers know about?
I had a pet lion as a kid. So a real pet lion. And he was like in our house in the bathroom as a cub and until he got bigger and then had like a room. And then around the time that I think he tried to eat my younger brother, maybe my mom realized he might not be the best house pet.
Hi, Terri Gillespie here, and welcome to A2A, Author to Author. And this is a program where I interview best-selling, award-winning authors and also some new indie authors that you might find interesting. And this month, we are interviewing Kate Angelo, and this is her newest release, and she's starting a brand new series called The King Legacy. And the King Legacy is suspense personified. So we'll be talking with Kate a little bit more about that. So, Girl Lost. Um, I wanted to take a moment to say thank you so much to my subscribers, over 80,000 subscribers. Thank you so much. And I appreciate the support. The authors I interview appreciate the support. And if you haven't subscribed, if you could smash that red subscribe button, I would sure appreciate it. And if you also subscribe, if you comment, like, and share, and when you comment, be sure and put one of your social media links on there too, because I will get in touch with you if you win the copy of Girl Lost by Kate Angelo. Now, so we're going to go ahead and meet Kate, and I can't wait for you to meet her. Welcome, Kate.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here and I'm really excited. We had so much in common just chatting a little bit earlier, and this is going to be a fun conversation. Super excited.
I am super excited too. So I have to encourage you, viewers, to read Kate's bio on her website. And there's a link down below in the description section. I spent most of my read like this. So we'll give you a little taste of it later. But for right now, uh, Kate has turned all of these different experiences into an incredible ministry. And she works with her husband's ministry as well and her writing. So her stories reflect that sense of adventure and excitement. So, with all the ministry work and with the writing, what is the best way for my readers and my viewers to keep in touch with you?
Well, the best way is really, go to my website and you'll find everything you need there. It's kateangelo.com, which I think you're putting the link down below.
And
Definitely, yeah, down below. And you definitely want to, like and subscribe to this as well, because I know you're going to highlight a lot of great authors and hopefully I'll be able to come back here. You can subscribe to my newsletter, and I also have a deleted scene for Girl Lost. So if you haven't read that yet, you might want to go grab that. It's on the Girl Lost page. And there's even a book club there. So if you want to just download the book club and, because it's not very often that you can have a book club with a romantic suspense novel. And we did a great job of just putting together some really interesting questions. So I'm also on Instagram a lot. I tend to hang out there, but it's pure nonsense stuff that I'm doing. So if I'm not promoting the book or showing you that, mostly I'm posting nonsense. So
well, that's fun. Sometimes you
But
just need a little nonsense.
I know, and a little fun. And I try to put like life stuff in my stories and share fun things. And, but on my newsletter, I try to find other books that I love that might be free or discounted and share those with people. So it's great to hang out in the newsletter as well.
Wonderful. That sounds great. So, as Kate said, the links are down below in the description section, and we'll have her social media links and her links to her newest book, plus other books on her website. Kate, your book, Girl Lost. Um, Man, you have almost a frenetic sense of style in how you write. And that really kept me interested in turning those pages into the night. The other thing that I really love is um, this is the first book in the King Legacy series. And so always you have a cast of characters. But what I really loved about your characters is the diversity in those characters with real life experiences and flaws. And it's, I love that. I love that because not everybody has a perfect childhood. So it's nice to have characters that you can identify with. But the thing that really got me was the medical angle. Now, is there any way you can share some of that
Yeah.
without a spoiler?
It's very interesting because it is kind of hard to not spoiler some of it. But um mostly we can talk about it from an angle of I'm a huge nerd, first of all. I love technology, cutting edge, bleeding edge. I want to be out there. Like I was really interested in AI like long before people really knew that AI was a thing.
Hmm.
And we're growing so fast and things are changing with that. And so um, there's a lot of technology that exists that most people aren't aware of. And it
Yeah.
doesn't come onto the scene for them until either somebody brings it forward. Or they learn about it in the news or something like that, or maybe it becomes more mainstream. And so there's a lot of interesting things that, I've been learning about some like new medications that could probably solve a lot of really debilitating diseases that currently have no cure. And
Hmm.
then also in this, we talk about, how far will one person go to save someone else? And so the technology that we talk about a little bit in the book without spoiling it is something that is very real. It's being used. It's still very, like I said, bleeding edge. It's not cutting edge, it's bleeding edge. It's way before the cutting edge, uh, right before the cutting edge. And so um, after you read the book, there's a letter at the back, a letter to the reader, and you can learn a little bit more about it and things like that. And then if you subscribe, respond to that email and say, tell me about the video that you can't say because you didn't want to spoil it, and I'll send you a video about it.
That's great. That's great. Yeah, I know with Alzheimer's, my sister-in-law, they just diagnosed her, which is
Oh,
horrible. But they did it through a blood test.
wow.
A
Wow.
blood test. And my mother was diagnosed 3 years ago, and I don't think they had that ability yet.
Wow.
So, yeah.
It is very interesting, the research that is coming out on Alzheimer's, and it could potentially be linked to like our sugar problems and some
Hmm.
other things like that. And that's why I'm really interested in people becoming a little bit healthier.
Well, gee, how about reading a little excerpt of your book, Girl Lost? I
Ooh,
read the first paragraph, so whatever you would like to read.
okay. I just opened it and I'm just picking something, and I like this scene a lot. And it actually is the cover scene. So I just happened to open up to the cover scene. So I don't know if you've opened up to this. So I'm going to start on page
Oh, I
130.
have an arc. So,
Oh, it might be on 132 though. For you. I don't know if it's the same page not, but um okay. So I'm gonna try not to spoil it. Oh wait, actually I can't read that. I'll spoil it for you guys. Oh goodness. Um
oh, yeah.
we're like, maybe I can just read a paragraph. They walked
Okay.
in They walked into the woods, following a narrow path that curved through a tangle of palmetto bushes, towering pines, and strangler figs that wrapped their tendrils around ancient oaks. The humid air was thick with the scent of pine needles and damp earth, and something else, something sickly sweet, decay. Can I just end it there? It's just a paragraph.
Yeah, that's enough. That's enough.
So,
Well, go ahead.
no, it's okay. I was going to say, I will tell you that scene that I just read, there are two dogs that are in there, and they are the names of my friend's dog. And both dogs, one is Maisie and one is Remy. And Remy is owned by Chuck, who is also in the book. And he has a different job, and Maisie has a different job. They are both therapy dogs. And so, but I thought it would be really fun to put them into the book. And I do that. There's a lot of Easter eggs in the book that certain people will get. And if you are a reader of mine, you'll slowly start to go, oh, wait a minute, what is with this? I saw this last time, and you'll start to see some of those things.
Yeah, like I'll be back. Yeah.
Exactly. Something like that. Yeah.
Well, um, you kind of alluded to it, but um, can you share a little bit about the next book in the King Legacy? And it turns out you have another book coming out in Love Inspired Suspense.
Yeah, I'm super excited about both of those books. I was just working on the edits for the book two that is After Girl Lost. And I'm getting ready to tell the world in a day or two the title of it. But I will tell you and your viewers so that you have a little special something that no one else gets. The next book, book two in the King Legacy series, will be Fatal Pattern. And
Ooh,
if you have a copy of Girl Lost, it might not be in the back of your ARC copy, but there is the first chapter of the next book in there. So um,
yeah.
maybe I should have read that first sentence for you, but I'll let you guys do that. So that book is follows Tori and Blade, and we kind of learn a little bit more about their past, and I try to resolve pretty much everything in Girl Lost, but I leave a little thread open so that if you choose to keep reading the series, then you can follow that next thread, which is what Fatal Pattern will be about. And man, that one is really difficult because I was writing it and there's just all these different threads happening. And I'm like, okay, we've got to like cross threads here and there. And each of the books, like I said, I'm a little bit of a nerd, and each of the books has some STEM field in it. And so Fatal Pattern has a little bit of math in it. Math is not my strong suit, but in the first few chapters, you learn a little bit about fractals. And
Oh,
I don't know if you're familiar with fractals, but there's a lot of things. Like I did a lot of research on it because there's some books that were written
for
like in
lasers and things like that.
well, not necessarily lasers, but even back as early as like 500 AD and 1500 AD, it's more of like what Da Vinci was talking about with like, the divine proportions, the divine ratio,
Hmm.
and how it's like God's divine thumbprint is what back in the day everyone recognized the repeating patterns. So if you look at the wing of a monarch butterfly, you'll see repeating patterns. If you look at a tree and how a tree grows, it grows in a repeating pattern. When the whenever an egg is fertilized in your womb, it's a repeating pattern that ultimately makes a unique you, but it's still two cells dividing into four cells, dividing and dividing and dividing. And so I kind of pull in that a little bit into the subtext of the book. There is like a few mathematicians that have a pattern and all, that kind of
Hmm.
comes up in the book. And so hopefully that'll get people excited to at least go, wow, how do you put that into a book? That's very weird. But it is about Tori and Blade, and Tori is trying to find, you know, she is told that somebody knows who killed her parents, and it's been a cold case for all these years. And so she has never been able to gain access to the files because she's a surviving witness. It's a cold case, so she can't go in and look at all the evidence like she wants to. And then when some of the other people in the book, like Blade, try to access it, there is a seal on it, and they're not able to access this file. And so they have to go look for it and solve this crime in other ways. Meanwhile, there's more crimes happening and there's trying to stop other things as well. So, but you get to see all the characters again.
Yeah, I love that. Now, is this your first book with the love inspired suspense coming up?
So, no, this is actually the book that's coming out. It does not have a title yet, but it will be coming out next fall with Love Inspired Suspense. And it is, my first one is called Hunting the Witness. And that book, is set in a small town in the Colorado Rockies, called Piney Village. And it's a fictional town, but it's based on a real place called Piney River Ranch. It's like one of the most beautiful places I've ever been in my whole life. It's near Vail, Colorado. So hard to get to. And I was like, wow, this would be like a great place to just have a book. And so I set the town there. And so the next book that comes out is bringing back some of those characters, and you get to see some new. You have a search and rescue dog named Oscar, and he's kind of the hero of the book, and then of course the other characters as well. And they find a deaf child who is nonverbal, and can't really say what happened because he's very young, and so they start uncovering that and trying to protect him along the way.
Ooh.
So it'll be pretty exciting. I love those fast-paced ones. They're so fun.
Yeah, I do too. I do too. And you're very good at fast pace. So,
Thank you. Thank you. You flatter
you,
me so much.
I don't know what to say. So, now for these video interviews, I like to ask fun questions. And after finding out a little bit about Kate's background, I'm like, well, I can't just ask one. But here's my first question. What is something fun that probably none of my viewers or readers know about?
Well, let's see here. I think the first one that we could talk about on that is that most people don't know that I had a pet lion as a kid. So a real pet lion, along with some other exotic pets. But when I was growing up, and this is like, I didn't have a pet lion because I lived in an animal sanctuary. I lived in like a suburb of Houston, Texas. So, and he was like in our house in the bathroom as a cub, and until he got bigger and then had like a room, and then
Any
and
room
then
he wanted.
pretty much. And then around the time that I think he tried to eat my younger brother, maybe my mom realized he might not be the best house pet, and ended up selling him to a circus in Shreveport, Louisiana. So I love to tell people I once sold a lion to a circus in Shreveport.
A lion that almost ate my brother.
Right.
Yeah.
So, And I do joke about that a little bit because, it's very unusual. I think, and when you subscribe to my newsletter, I send the picture to you. So if you're interested in seeing the picture of an 80s Kate, with a leash holding a lion, like I'm just like it's just a pet, and like also my brother and I are laying there with our face right beside this lion whose paw is as big as our whole head. And but my mom did a lot of exotic animal brokering, and and we grew up in like a not great environment. There was a lot of
Mhm.
trauma, a lot of abuse, a lot of things that I touch on in these books, like in Girl Lost, that
Mhm.
the characters have experienced and things that they went through. And part of the reason that I want to do that is because there are a lot of people out there who they had like not great childhoods,
Mhm.
and they need to know that that doesn't really define who they are. It can strengthen who they are. It can be a part of their story, but you get to choose if you're going to continue to live and repeat a cycle or if you're going to rise up. It doesn't mean that you're not going to have scars or that you're not going to have behaviors that you have to try to overcome
Mhm.
that come from that type of background that you had. But it's definitely something that you can overcome, and you can, it doesn't have to be who you are. And so I use some of those things to write relatable characters, like you said, real characters who
Mhm.
have flaws, who maybe like don't act a certain way, who might not respond the right way. And I want to bring that into the inspirational fiction because I think sometimes we can just like set men up on a pedestal, and we can, or a woman even, and we can make it seem like this is perfect if I just had this kind of man or this kind of woman, or if I had this perfect small town, and it's a hallmarky kind of thing happening. But I like it better whenever the characters say the wrong things and they act the wrong things, or they get up and walk away when they should stay and listen, and then try to show the reader why someone would be like that, because of their past and how they overcome it in the end.
Yeah. I think it's so important, Kate. I didn't have the best childhood either. And so I remember one time sharing something with somebody who I admired them and I admired their family and everything. And when I shared just one little episode, their eyes were like this. And I thought, maybe I shouldn't do that. So, but I, in my Hair Mavens books, I did definitely share that. And then my Sweet Rivalry, it's the same thing because the mother was a drug addict. So yeah, it's I think it's we have such a great opportunity to be able to share hope and to be able to share um, that God can work through us and with us in our lives. So
Absolutely. And occasionally I'll see a review, like a book review, and they'll say, oh, that guy is very toxic, or, that person wasn't very forgiving. And I'm like, maybe that one thing that he did is a little toxic because he's a human and he had an outburst. And then if you read a few more pages, you would see that he's recognizing it, he's learning, and he's changing. Because, I don't know if you and I, who both had bad childhoods, I'm, mumbles how many ever years old I am right now, and I'm still struggling with some of those things occasionally. It's not like you just become a Christian and now everything is fine. It's, I was thinking about this actually the other day, that I have what is known as like a poverty mentality, that you will
mm,
run out of things. And so sometimes when I see somebody else grab the paper towel roll and just yank it, and then they like dry their hands and throw it away, I'm like, "Oh, you're just wasting all these paper towels. We might never get paper towels again." But then I have to realize, there's good stewardship, and then there's also like living in fear that God isn't going to
mhm,
provide for you. So I can't
mhm.
be I can't be that kind of person, but I also can't be wasteful. So there's a that little line there of don't let anxiety take over.
Hmm.
Give that over to the Lord and you can work through those things.
Yeah, we all have default responses to
Hmm.
things that have to do with our childhood. And by the way, I'm in my 70s and I'm still dealing. So every once in a while, something will happen and it will trigger something. And it's like, oh, come on, come
Yeah,
on.
it's pretty sad that it can't actually just, you become a Christian and then you're just completely fine. After that, you just have, you have little things. It gets better, but you also learn the tools to that.
Well, I don't know how you're going to top that, but I did ask, do you have a superpower? And what
Ooh,
is that?
I was a little bit hesitant actually, and I was thinking about like what would I put
Oh,
in as a superpower, right? Because, but I started thinking, I'm like, if you have a superpower that makes you like very creative and very resilient, like wildly resilient, and you're able to like hyper focus on something for like a really long time, and then, just when something just is gets your curiosity going, um, you know, and you're just able to learn, I think that that's a great superpower,
yeah.
right? But for years, I didn't realize that it was a superpower. I just thought maybe, well, everybody worked this way, or maybe my brain's a little bit different. But, I actually have a friend who is a therapist, and she's like, have you ever been diagnosed with ADHD? And I was like, no.
Mhm.
And I hate a label,
Yeah.
and she's like, but you're so highly, like you've modified your behavior enough to work through this. And so,
Mhm.
so I used to be very embarrassed to even talk about it or think about it, but understanding it does change everything for people. And
Mhm.
I think that a lot of people are starting to feel like maybe they have ADHD and then they're like, let me just medicate it and that'll be fine. But I
Mhm.
think it's really like part of it is a distracted world, that
Mhm.
I've always been this way. And it's funny the things that align with someone who has ADHD. They're clumsy, they're forgetful, they are, interrupters and blurters. They fix something when somebody comes to them, like, oh, I got to do this. Well, let me help you research all these cars and all these things, and I'll do all the research for you because they get hyper focused and fixated on something like that. And so I think it's a superpower because like understanding it helped me go, okay, I'm in this funk and I need to get my rhythm back and I need to use my tools. I need to write the task down on a piece of paper, not on a computer, because when you have ADHD, you open
Mhm.
up your task list on a computer and suddenly you're
Mhm.
researching belt buckles. Like it's like doing something you do not need to be doing. Or like when you're supposed to be working on your edits for your book, you're actually, stuck in the research for the
The
one the
next
one
book.
thing, yeah, or
Yeah.
something like that, or trying your I do this. I hyper focus on a sentence to make it perfect. And I know people, then you have the reader who's like, I read it in a whole day. And you're like, I mean, I don't know if it's because I hyper focused on that one sentence. That's probably it, but either way. So, but really, success isn't really wasn't handed to me for sure, and it did make it more difficult for me in childhood. But I just, like I said, learned those tools, and I've learned how to, if I'm going to go into a meeting, I'm going to bring like a fidget spinner, or I'm going to bring something that will keep me. That I know will keep me grounded so that I can pay attention to what other people are doing,
Mhm.
because generally the way the ADHD brain works is it works best when it's at maximum capacity. The
Mhm.
sound, like you just can't turn it off. You just need to be running it 100% all the time. And so if you're doing a task that only takes 40% or like 20% to listen to someone talk, then your brain is struggling because there's like, I'm not at maximum capacity here. How do I do this? And so it's very hard. My husband and I have even joked where we sit and I go like this, like just let me put these blinders on and focus on you. And it can be frustrating for him sometimes as well. But working to understand how your own mind works, because there's spectrums and differences, and
Hmm.
you can turn something that could be considered a label that it doesn't feel like it's a superpower. It feels like it's a weakness, but you can turn it into a superpower. And a lot of people will say to me, I don't know how you do all this stuff and write a book and do this and then do that. And I'm like, you just got to focus and keep going, just keep going and pray a lot. I pray a lot. That helps.
Yeah, praying helps a lot.
Mm.
Yeah, I had a reading disability,
Mm.
and but my grandmother was a storyteller, and she could keep me focused on her stories. And I'm not a auditory listener or processor.
Mhm.
I'm more, I have to write and tactile. And but for some reason with her, I could focus and pay attention. So neurodivergent,
Mhm. That's the new word. Yeah.
that's a new word.
Yeah.
So we should unite.
Yeah, definitely. I
Yeah.
think a lot of people, they say it's neurodivergent, but I would wonder if there actually is like there's no one brain, right? There's no one
Yeah.
perfect brain. You look at someone like Elon Musk and everyone's like, oh, he has autism or Asperger's or whatever, or he's just neurodivergent, right? He probably
Hmm.
has ADHD or something, and he probably, because he's creative, he's a thinker, and he's just using his powers to do good things. And then there's other people who are the same way. And so that new phraseology is like, it's an interesting thing because I think it's just how did God best gift you? How did he make
Yeah.
you? And then try to lean into those things. And understanding yourself is like the number one thing. We can't know who, like we can't really understand anything about our behaviors or how to be successful if we can't understand ourselves first.
Yeah. And who God created us to be. And
Right.
that's something we learn every day. Every
Yeah,
day.
absolutely.
This is very profound. So, well, on that note, this month's giveaway is a copy of Girl Lost from Ravel
Yay.
Publishers. So we thank Karen very much over at Ravel. And I know people are going to want this book. So how do you enter? I had brain surgery in August, so um so
Oh, wow.
sometimes I'm slurry. So anyway, the way to do that is both adding a comment, liking, sharing, subscribing, both on this YouTube channel. And there's also a blog interview of Kate. So if you enter there, you can have up to 6 entries for a chance to win a copy of this book.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah. So the drawing will be held February, Friday, December 12th. And unfortunately, it's entries only from the contiguous US. So sorry,
Oh,
Alaska,
sorry,
Hawaii.
Alaska.
Yeah, and
Ah,
Hawaii. I mean, Alaska's pretty close, but
yeah, you would think.
yeah.
We can send it on a polar bear if you want. See if you get
Or
it.
a lion.
A
Yeah.
lion.
Is that your next pet? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So, Kate, do you have any words for my viewers?
Well, if anything that I said about relationships, kind of got your ear going, and you can go and you can find us at the easiest way is marriageminute.org. And our nonprofit is called Vanguard Marriage and Family Advocates. And you can go to that website at Vanguard mfa.org. and you can learn a little bit more about us. Or maybe if you just wanted to support what we're doing, you could do that as well, because all of that helps us to give these resources to other people. We were just given some funding so that we can provide free resources to first responders and
Oh,
military, and also some people who are like economically disadvantaged. And so the more that we have people who continue to give, the more that we can give back to our community and beyond. And so we have a huge project that we're doing in Southwest Missouri. We're hoping to do some other states as well. But it's very much needed because their divorce rates are even higher than the average. They're like up to 75% in some cases. It's very
what?
high. 65 to 75% of all first responder marriages will end in divorce, and police officers are one of the highest
Yeah, I
because
knew
of,
police officers were, but oh
yeah. And
my.
And so,
Oh,
and that's higher than like the general population. So if we look at the
sure.
general population and you think it's 1 out of 2, and then you say it's 67% higher than the average, I mean, it's very difficult for them. And then, that just causes a lot more trauma to the families, to the communities, and to the men and women who are serving. And so we really want to do that. So you can, like I said, you could find us, even the easy one would be marriageminute.org, and you can find a way to give or learn more about what we're doing. Or if you're looking for us to come and do something, let us know. Just reach out and say, hey, what can you do for us, for our church, for our community, for our police station? We would love to do something.
Wonderful. Excellent. Well, viewers, thanks so much for watching my 59th interview
Oh,
episode. One last reminder to be sure and check the description section below, and we'll have the link to Kate and her husband's ministry as well. Also, our social media links and where you can buy our books. And Kate and I really do love responding to social media context. So, um, and we appreciate the subscribes and the follows. So,
yes.
next month, um, the featured guest will be a brand new suspense author, Christine Delano, and her debut novel, Lies We Trade, will be released in January. So
Ooh,
I'll be interviewing her. I don't know, she's a former, if she still is, a stockbroker. So,
yeah. Yeah. And her last name is Delano.
Delano, thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Thank
Christine
you.
Delano. I know you want to say Delano, but because
Yeah.
she's like from New York. She's a
From
Delano.
New York. Yeah.
No, she is amazing, very high achiever, um, excellent writer. And I cannot tell you how excited I am for this book. I was hoping to get an ARC copy of it myself. So I might need to talk to somebody who can get me one because I love domestic thrillers and psychological thrillers. That's really like I love it because it's a brain teaser, right?
Yeah.
I'm super excited about this book.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
will
I
be
am
definitely
too.
watching. I'm already subscribed, but I will definitely be watching this interview.
Thank you. Yeah, she said she's been following and watching my interviews for a while. So I was like, wow, that's really cool.
Yeah, love
So,
it.
thank you so much, Kate. This has been so informative, edifying, and plus got to talk about your books. So that's pretty cool too.
Great. Thank you so
Um,
much. Thank you. Thank you.
you're so welcome. And viewers, thanks again for watching and supporting great authors like Kate. And we'll see you next time. But in the meantime, God bless and keep reading.